now recognize the gentlelady from Virginia, Ms. McClellan, for 5 minutes for your questions.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I appreciate the opportunity to discuss our nation's critical public safety communications networks at a time when natural disasters and public emergencies are becoming more commonplace. And as we've heard, communities rely on these systems not only in moments of crisis, but for the trust and confidence that come from knowing that help is on the way. And as we confront more school shootings, hurricanes, and other emergencies, ensuring that our first responders have reliable, interoperable, and modern communication tools isn't a luxury, it's a necessity. And it's critically important that no community gets left behind in the transition to these tools. It could be the difference between life and death. And yet the latest data available shows that many communities, particularly rural ones, are in fact left behind today. In only 7 states or territories have all PSAPs fully transitioned to next-gen 911. 4 states and territories remain in the legacy stage, meaning no PSAP has transitioned. And many of these legacy systems still rely on copper, which is over a century old. The rest of the states and territories are in various states of transition. So for each of the witnesses, and I think I know the answer, do you think Congress should prioritize ensuring that all roughly 5,700 primary and secondary public safety answering points should transition to next generation 911?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes, and I would also add very quickly that the University of Florida has been proactive in terms of creating products that address the very issue you're talking about with rural and underserved areas. We've deployed a new beacon alerting channel that is dedicated to 4 rural counties, and it's proving to be very successful.
Good, thank you. And this hearing has made clear that funding is the primary challenge for PSAPs making this transition. I think it's important to level set, because it's not in the record yet, that local governments are the ones that primarily own and operate these PSAPs and pay for their establishment, their operation, their maintenance, and their transition, primarily through general funds, and in many cases, local or state imposed E911 surcharges. And unfortunately, our localities, as we've heard, just don't have the funding to make these upgrades. This year, the House majority had several chances to stand with rural communities and improve our communications infrastructure, but they didn't. They could have used spectrum auction proceeds to fund Next Gen 911, but they didn't. They could have pushed back on the administration's delays in broadband deployment, which is necessary to close the digital divide so that more people can see the benefits of Next Gen 911, but they didn't. They could have opposed cuts to the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, which administers the Next Generation Warning System grant programs, but they didn't. For all of the witnesses, do you agree that these issues are all interconnected and that without them, rural communities will be left behind?
Yes.
Yes. We're talking about a number of things here this morning, but even legacy systems remaining, modernizing, and a number of things, and it really is an all-in approach.
Yes.
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 And while Congress last estimated that the cost to transition all PSAPs to Next Gen 911 in 2018, I think we'd all agree that the costs have likely gone up in the last 7 years, at a minimum through inflation and the cost of labor. But tariffs are also having an impact on the cost as they raising supply chain issues for copper, for those PSAPs that are still on legacy systems, for fiber optic components, PVCs, and other insulation materials. And I don't have enough time maybe for a full answer, but Sheriff Dickus, I want to elaborate a little bit. You touched on the critical role that Next Gen 911 could play in response to school shootings. Can you elaborate a little more specifically on how important it is to save lives in that situation?
Sure. So what I'm talking to is primarily intelligence, both things that are going on at the school prior to the event even happening. And when you're talking about a real-time crime center or some of these technological advances we're talking about, is being able to feed that first responder what is the picture they're dealing with, what was before, who showed up, and what's going on.
And specifically, they need to see video.
Video certainly helps. And sometimes it's the video that the 911 dispatcher is receiving or a real-time crime center that's being translated, what is being seen to the person that's trying to drive to get there.
But it's more than just a voice on the phone explaining what's happening.
Yeah, absolutely. We live in a modern age where pictures, video, and a number of things we're all operating on, we're frankly used to operating on with our cell phones, and first responders are no different. The more information, the better.
Thank you. I yield back.
Thank you. Now